For the third time in 4 years, South Carolina has made it to another national championship game. This is a team that has continued to rock and roll, and this is a team that did it differently than they have in years past. No longer do they have that one single dominant big that everyone corrals around and leads the team to success. This is a team that has got to where they are by committee. It was the guards. It was the post players. It was, most importantly, for South Carolina, the bench. And for the umpteenth time, Don Staley has taken down a Vic Schaefer-led squad. The final score of this game was 74-57. And this was a tale of runs. That's what this was. This game was a tale of runs. It first started off with Texas looking very, very good to start this game. Like, extremely good to start this game. Texas came into this game with on a 12-4 run led by Madison Booker, who was getting to her spots on the offensive end. They were running several screens for her, and she was rocking and absolutely rolling. But then here comes the bench for South Carolina, and here comes bad fouls for Madison Booker. Madison Booker gets 2 fouls quickly. 1 foul trying to draw a double trying to draw a charge on Joyce Edwards, who I'm about to talk to in about a sec because Joyce Edwards was on fire today. Anyway, so that first foul, excusable. Understand. Second foul was a dumb foul where she was riding Tessa Johnson, which was dumb. So Madison Booker goes to the bench, and when she goes to the bench, Texas has no answer. This is a Texas team that runs everything through Madison Booker. When this Texas team is rocking and rolling, you can almost guarantee that Madison Booker is having a great offensive night. And she was until those fouls started happening. South Carolina got tougher on defense against Madison Booker. She started to commit some fouls. Ended up getting a third foul as well, and she had to sit for the remainder of the first half. And from there on, Texas was starting to fall apart. But it wasn't over just yet. It wasn't over. At halftime, this was a very, very, very close game. A game where, yes, Texas was losing it a little bit, but they were only losing by 3 points. That's it. It was a 3-point game. 38 South Carolina, 35 Texas. We were seeing sparks of the bench for South Carolina doing their thing. We were seeing Joyce Edwards kind of doing her thing, but the game was not out of hand yet. But for South Carolina, the game was way too close. In halftime, Don Staley does what she does best, gives a motivational speech or whatever she does, because the third quarters for South Carolina this year have been legendary. And once again, we see another legendary third quarter by South Carolina. South Carolina puts on the clamps even further on Texas. In that third quarter, South Carolina scores 20 points. Texas didn't even get in double figures, 9 points in that third quarter. And what was working for South Carolina? They were just active hands, capitalizing on every single dumb pass that Texas had. Because Texas had a lot of dumb passes. A lot of dumb passes, dumb decisions in that second quarter or third quarter especially. And every single time South Carolina was capitalizing. This was a team that got very stagnant for Texas, and they started panicking. And when they panic, what do? They foul, they turn the ball over, and they play dumb basketball. And that's what we saw in that third quarter. In that third quarter, Madison Booker plays. She plays basically the entire third quarter. Does it matter? No. Because she doesn't see the ball that often. And we continue to see Texas with Rory Harmon jacking up some dumb shots, with Kyla Odeaker getting the basketball, getting swarmed and turning over the basketball. We saw dumb passes, turnovers left and right for Texas, and there was absolutely nothing they could do. Absolutely nothing. Because they were discombobulated, they were panicking, and it felt like they were starting to give up in that third quarter. In the fourth quarter, it was just over. We just see Vic Schaefer ultimately, calling the cavalry, say, sat on the bench, head in his hand. Madison Booker was sitting next to him. Same for Rory Harmon. They called it quits with a lot of minutes left to go in this game because it was over. Everybody knew it. And everyone could sense it really from the third quarter, but it was over officially really with like 5 minutes left to go in this game. Now, that's the Texas side of things. Very, very great start in this game, and then completely falls apart for the remainder of the game. Because this team, in a lot of ways, are built on one player. They're built on one player, and they were freaking exhausted. They were. And that's what you have. That's what you have, ladies and gentlemen. You have a Texas team that has completely fell over in this game in the third quarter. But really, it started in the second quarter with Madison Booker getting that third foul. Now, that's Texas. Now, South Carolina, South Carolina, they win again, and they win by committee. This is a South Carolina team that continues to show up and show out. Sure, did they not have the best start to this game? They didn't. They did not have a good start to this game. But once again, Don Staley knows what to do. They have a terrible start. 12-4 run for Texas. Don Staley goes to her bench, and it's over from there. South Carolina gets back in it because once again we see Malaysia Fulwiley show up to play, and she was that huge spark in that first half. I believe 5 of her 7 points in this game was in that first half, or if not in that first quarter. She was a huge spark in this game once again for Malaysia, and in this game, player of the game, the player who impressed the heck out of me, the player who was having a terrible tournament, in my opinion, but has turned it up big time. She's from South Carolina, and today she put her team on her back. It is South Carolina's leading scorer, Joyce Edwards. Leading up to this game, I just want to go through, before I tell you what she did today, I'm going to go through the last couple of games for Joyce Edwards, because they have not been very good. They've been okay, but not that good. Okay? So, the first game in the first round, for Joyce Edwards, she did well. 22 points for her. But that was a game that was not against some great competition. So she played a lot of minutes. This is the blowout for South Carolina. They ended up dominating against Tennessee Tech, and so she played a lot of minutes, and so she did a lot of scoring. Okay. In the second round game against the University of Indiana, Joyce only has 5 points in 23 minutes. All right, on 22% shooting from the field. In the Sweet 16 game against Maryland, Joyce Edwards has only 6 points on 33% shooting in 19 minutes. In the Elite 8, Joyce Edwards has 4 points against Duke in 15 minutes on 28% shooting from the field. In none of those games do Joyce Edwards have more than 2 assists. In none of those games, Joyce Edwards has more than 7 rebounds. She does not play well. But just like the player that we knew she was, she showed up in this game. And she put on an absolute show. In this game, let me go through the stats for Joyce Edwards, because these are like epic stats, especially considering the fact that she's still a freshman. Like, she's not even an upperclassman. So Joyce Edwards today had 13 points. So you may be like, 13 points, not a big deal. Sure. But let me go through the rest of it. 13 points. She had 11 rebounds in this game, 6 assists in this game, 1 foul, and she does not shoot crazy efficiently. She didn't, right? She was 4 of 11 on the field from the field today. So not crazy numbers. Shot 36% from the field, but what she did today was run the floor. And she ran the offense. She ran the offense for this squad. And there were a lot of times where Joyce Edwards had the basketball, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take over. I'm gonna play a point forward today," where she was looking so good. Joyce Edwards looked like a senior today. She looked like someone who had been playing college basketball for years. She was the best player on the floor, hands down. Yes, she does not shoot very efficiently today. However, when you watch the game and when you give it the eye test, and you watch the game, it was all Joyce Edwards. It was all Joyce Edwards. And I loved watching her play today. I loved it. From her being like, oh, give me an ISO. Get out the way. Get out the way. Give me an ISO. To her running the floor and figuring out, oh, let me do high-low passes down low to get my players some good looks. It was fan-freaking-tastic to watch. Joyce Edwards has shown that she can absolutely do it at the highest level, right? We didn't really see her do anything this tournament. Besides that first game, she was kind of not doing much. But in this game, in the Final Four, when all eyes are on the sport of women's basketball, Joyce Edwards shows up and shows out. Now, it wasn't just Joyce Edwards. Now, yes, in my opinion, she was the best player on the court, but it was not just all Joyce Edwards in this game. Tina Pow had 14 points as well, 14 points in this game. She shot very efficiently from the field, 5 of 6 from the field. Raven Johnson, in my opinion, had a really, really good game in this one as well. Yes, she only ends up with 2 points, but once again, she controls the speed of South Carolina and just does her job and does it well. 2 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists for her. Again, it's not all about points. Bree Hall, she had a huge challenge going against Madison Booker. And at times it had to be a play by committee to take down Madison Booker. But when it came to offense, Bree Hall did her thing. 5 of 8 from the field, 11 points for her. She was rocking and absolutely rolling. And we got Tessa Johnson, who added in 9 points. My Lazy Fool, Wiley, 7 points. Chloe Kidd, 6 points. This was a whole team effort. Everybody for South Carolina got the job done. And of course, it is always the head of the snake, Dawn Staley, who makes it all happen. It's her little adjustments throughout the game that ultimately lead to this dub. Now, I'm going to tell you this. This was a game that I was thoroughly entertained by. Besides, for the last couple of minutes of the game when Texas gave up. That is something that I don't know if people will forget from Vic Schaefer. And in a lot of ways, it was embarrassing. Now, fantastic game by South Carolina. Fantastic game, right? When you see teams get to the Final Four, you know it's not going to be easy, right? You know it. You know it's going to be a slugfest. South Carolina weathered the storm in that first half, came out swinging hard in that second half, and ultimately the game was over. Now, I gotta say, man, I said before this game started, that it was going to be all about South Carolina, and I thought South Carolina was going to pull out the win. And yes, rough first quarter, but ultimately they do just that. You know, it's wild. It's wild, guys. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. With 5 minutes and 53 seconds left to go, the score was 64 South Carolina, 50 Texas. Madison Booker, the best player on this team, subs out and does not come back in this game. South Carolina, yes, was losing, but was only losing by 14 points. Now, did anyone believe that Texas would win this game? No. But did Texas technically still have time to win this game? Yes. And Vic Schaefer put his best player on the bench, and she sat there for the remainder of the game. Now, was Madison Booker possibly injured? Yes. She was a little hobbled in that first quarter after she tried to draw that charge, but ended up getting called for a blocking foul. Now, could something be going on with that? Yes. However, it looks bad. And in a lot of ways, it is embarrassing to see a team in the Final Four basically give up with 5 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. You gave up. You waved the white flag. You sat on the bench and put your head in your hand. You don't want to see a coach do that in the Final Four. You don't. Shelly says this is embarrassing to give up with time on the clock, not championship behavior. See, I would get it if you're 2 minutes left to go in a game, you lose by 14 points. Okay, maybe, but you had 5 minutes and 32 seconds left to go in this game when you pulled Madison Booker. Now, there may be something we don't know. Absolutely. There may be some. There may be something we don't know, and we'll listen to the post-game presser and see what we learn. But from the looks of it, that was terrible, and that was embarrassing. Okay? Tisha said, I said if we could get Booker out, we could win. Yeah, and y'all got Booker to commit some not-so-great fouls. And yeah, y'all got the dub. KB says Booker cooked for a while, cooked while she was on the court, but Joyce torched the Texas front court. She did. And did y'all see that they had Joyce Edwards like defending guards for South Carolina, which is also cool as well. I'm just saying, I think overall, this is a bad look. This is a bad ending for Texas. For South Carolina, bravo, great job. But for Texas, this was kind of embarrassing. Reggie says Don beat Vic Schaefer so much it's a mental block for him. Well, we don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. We don't know that. K2 Shy says, I think Madison is hurting. No more risk. Which, that's why I want to hear the post-game presser. Because that's like the only saving grace. If indeed there was something going on with Madison Booker where she was like, where her or the training staff was like, she's hurt. Sure, you can play her, but maybe she may tear something or whatever. So, yeah. There may be something else we don't know. But right now, it looks bad. It looks bad for the Final Four. Kentucky Rick says, I've never seen a coach quit like Vic Schaefer did. Crazy, in my opinion. Yeah. Again, we'll see. We'll see if there was something else going on. We'll see. But again, doesn't look good. Anyway, guys, that's the stream. That's the video. What did y'all think about this game? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know. I'm curious to hear what you all have to say about this game. What do y'all have to say about Texas basically giving up at the end? What do y'all have to say about South Carolina once again proving why they are the best in the country? Now, South Carolina moves on to the NCAA National Championship game, and we will see who they play. They will either face UCLA or they will face UConn. I think it's going to be UConn, but we will ultimately see. We will ultimately see what happens from here. But South Carolina have made it to the big dance. We will ultimately see what happens from here. Guys, I was entertained. How about you? Let me know in the comments below. And I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.